So you see what he's doing? Is he's blowing out all the dust, right? See all that? That's a buildup. It almost works like a brake pad. It's emitting and extruding all its breakdown material from the clutch to the belt, to the belt. Right? So you have to get that clean once in a while. Even if you're just, if everything's fine, you still want to get a vacuum in there or a blower or alcohol just to clean out that mineral. Because it'll mineralize. It'll get bulkier and harder and it might ruin components in the mechanism. Right? So a basic check, a half an hour, you're safe. You know what I mean? A rear drum is only $80, but a clutch is $140, depending on the model. Many of you had variators and rollers changed already. It's a basic maintenance thing. You got to change it. But they'll wear out unevenly, and that wearing out, where's that wear stuff going? It's just lingering in the bottom of the engine case, right? Now, some of the components that you're removing requires more specialty tooling. It's a lot easier to use air because you can impact shock bolts. Instead of sitting there and holding them and trying to crack them loose, you can zap it loose, and it's loose. It's done. You won't hurt the thread, nothing will happen. But for an everyday user, there's specialty tooling that you can't purchase, not from us, but thank God for the World Wide Web, there's holders and devices. What he's going to do right now is going to zap the bolt on the active bearing. He's going to let pressure build in the compressor so they have enough power. If it's a ring or a divot, or how many of you have screwed up rotors on their car? And it's got imperfections. Tight, eh? Oh, we need a big boss gun, big boss. Unfortunately, there are specialty tools that you will need. I don't know, how many of you guys do this at home? First of all. None of you do a little bit of service at home?
Not yet.
Good.
That's why we're here.
Oh, okay. But sometimes they're finicky because they're on there, right? You've been putting thousands of kilometers, heat, cold, heat, they fuse up sometimes. So one bike that might come in, 20 minutes, everything comes apart. Another bike that comes in, it's sticky. So A, you have to get it pulled. B, there's potential that you can actually damage the component. A, if it falls under the warranty guideline, sometimes we can help you. You know, it's a manufacturer's thing. But realistically, they get really snug. You got variables, holds, rollers that control basically your wheel speed. How fast the engine delivers power to the rear wheel is controlled by the variable. No. Sorry about this. There are more adequate parts. If it's a motorcycle that's not popular in the world of performance, it's not going to make any performance parts. Then there's specialty performance parts, and they get expensive. Rollers are measured by weight and size. You'll feel this one here, pass it around, and take a good look at that roller. Now you guys are my mechanics. I'm the customer. I have a complaint. I get a weird chatter when I'm accelerating up a hill. A weird chatter. And my bike is warm and I've been riding it for 2.5 hours. So I'm accelerating up a hill, and I get a weird chatter. Like almost like something's holding me back for a split second, and then it's all good. Inspect the roller good, and you'll see.
Do those rollers move? It looks like it stays in the spot.
What happens is, you have the fuel stick and I have the finger. So what happens is, guys, see that there's little buckets in here? Right. The tech will inspect the sidewalls because obviously it's metal and polyurethane sliding back and forth. See what it's doing? It's rolling up. See how it wants to naturally roll up? It'll roll up. See what it's doing? Mm-hmm. So that back and forth play all day, every time you're on the gas, off the gas, on the gas, doing that rapidly at 2,000 to 6,000 RPMs. It'll start wearing out metal. When it's pretty new, under 10,000, usually you have no problems with this device. But the roller itself will be replaced. Because
it wears on one side.
Usually,
you take it apart and just turn the roller a little bit?
No, you can't do anything because it's actually being spun 360 degrees all the time. It doesn't mean that naturally it's going to sit. Even with vibration, the roller will want to chatter and roll itself over.
Okay.
It'll want to roll itself over. When it's on the bike, it's doing this, right?
How come this is worn on the one?
That's the worn line, because as soon as it gets worn, it'll keep wearing off that one mark.
Oh.
You understand? It'll feel itself out. It'll have a groove. And that groove will always get deeper and deeper and deeper, right?
So it doesn't never wear evenly.
No, there's our cases where sometimes we take a guy's variator apart, and obviously he hasn't serviced it, and the rollers are just held in there with luck because they've just deteriorated.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean? There's weird issues. The thing is that the back clutch mechanism inside here, inside the shoes, are made out of brake material. What's brake material, basically? Exactly. So some of these guys usually, they wear masks, turn on fans, or are evac systems so that they don't get affected. And obviously today you guys might get a little finger clips have to be replaced. So you just don't inspect the variator housing, you don't inspect the inside and the rollers, you inspect the little finger guys.
Will they be done at the same time as the rollers?
You can, yes, but most of the time they don't get as affected as the rollers, right?
The belt actually, where's the belt actually?
The belt will grip here to here. So when it's on the machine, you'll see it go on the inside. The belt will grab the edge. See this edge part?
Yeah.
Where it feels nice and soft. Sometimes it'll be cracked and it'll feel greasy. Replace the belt with a greasy mud. And it's usually a pre-mix, so that we don't have to determine the mix. It's already done. This is sort of a 60. Now, it should be changed a year, or depending on your riding style.
But you guys are putting in the stuff in a cooler.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about storage?
You don't have it all year round. I mean,
Yeah, no, it won't be. Because the cooler we use is already mixed. It's a already added to it. It's going to be a certain percentage. Right?
Can you get that going with the Canadian Tire, the premium going?
Yeah, I know you guys love going to Canadian Tire.
No, I hate Canadian Tire.
Okay, good. But no, you have to go to a bike shop. It'll specifically say EPI, aluminum rack, coolant only. That's what you need to use.
Because I was making the mistake of buying the wrong one.
Yeah, I know. You can buy preschool stuff, but between me and you, it's easier for me to stipulate the Piaggio that the customer did his own coolant flush, but he bought Piaggio coolant. Then versus, he bought this. They're going to just say how many.
Radiators or
Air. Air cooled. All air cooled. Anything below usually 200 cc's is capable of staying air cooled. Anything above that will generate way too much heat, like Harley Davidson per se. There's a lot of fins. See their cylinder heads? So coolant is rushing through the switch and it's regulating the temperature so that the computer knows how hot the machine is actually at. So it knows when to trigger the fan to cool the rad, in turn cool the water, and cool the engine.
So if that light comes on, what's your urgency?
Shut it off.
Stopping that bike right
Shut it
away?
off.
I don't think it's a big light.
If you guys ever see, yeah, but there'll be a light that usually comes on. If it touches the red thing, the light will come on. Most machines are equipped with fail-safe, so that when it goes into that zone, you'll find it want to stutter. It'll want to make you shut it off. It'll cut the RPM on so it doesn't bounce over 2,000 RPMs, so you don't cause any damage. The manufacturer doesn't want you to blow up your engine, because a simple $30 temperature switch, a quick reflush, and the bike is fine, versus it keeps running to the service shop in red. By the time you get here, the cylinder's melted. And we've had cases like that where it does happen and it's the fault of the machine because the temperature switch fails. So in turn, it caused the cylinder to blow up. In turn, the client gets a new motor because it's really not his fault. Like, we all go to school. We all have engines that have blown up on us. We can tell how it blew prematurely, overheating, if you didn't service it properly. There's simple things that we can test to say, we're on your side, We don't want you to pay more money than you have to. You're just paying us for our time and our services. But if there's something we can do to help. So you're cleaning your air filter, your machine's all detailed, you've changed the oil and whatnot, and right now what you're going to do is you're going to start the bike, and you have your fogging agent. You go to Canadian Tire. You have this fogging agent.
Okay.
And you punch it right into, see where the air is going into the carburetor?
Yeah.
You'll know it, 'cause it's the biggest hole on the carburetor, going one way. And if you start running the machine, it's in a little towel, you can see that it wants to suck it in. Or you can put your fist in there. It'll feel like it's one that sucks it in. And all you're doing is holding the gas at about 2,000 RPM. Oh, till it dies.
Okay.
You don't let go of the gas. You stay where you are.
Yeah.
And you fog it with the can. And the can will actually disable the motor.
And then when it dies,
Done.
you're good to go. You have your
That's
stabilizer.
it. The carburetor's all conditioned.
Put the cover
Add
back on.
stabilizer back in it. Take the battery out. Get a trickle charger. It's cheaper to buy a $60 trickle charger than you're buying 110, 120, depending on your battery. There's batteries out there that'll blow your mind. When a guy comes in, oh, I just blew my battery. Whoa, this battery, it's $260. What? And they'll leave. Test it. And they'll go and shop the world. Damn, that battery is $260. Yeah.